China. Culture meets culture. China, a populous nation located in East Asia, it has a population of about 1.3 billion, and its national language is Mandarin. It has a very vast landscape from grasslands to deserts and mountains. It even has 14,000 kilometers of coastline, which is about 8,700 miles of beaches. China's capital is the beautiful city of Beijing, which has an interesting mix of modern architecture with historical sites. Some of the historical sites are really interesting, like the Forbidden City, which is a palace complex in central Beijing, the former Chinese imperial palace from the Ming Dynasty to the end of the Qin Dynasty, the years 1420 to 1912. It now houses the Palace Museum. The Tiananmen Square is a square near the Tiananmen, or the Gate of Heavenly Peace. It is a monumental gate in the center of Beijing, widely used as a national symbol of China. The Great Wall of China is another amazing site built more than 2,300 years ago. It was built to protect different territories from the enemies. It is about 21,196 kilometers or 13,170 miles. Chinese literature includes lyric, poetry, historical and didactic writing, drama, and various forms of fiction. It is an uninterrupted history of more than 3,000 years. There are many different types of Chinese arts. For example, there's architecture from over 2,000 years that can be linked to Chinese culture. They make ceramics that are porcelain, and the paintings there are painted by amateurs, aristocrats, and scholar officials who have too much time on their hands. Calligraphy is considered one of the highest and purest forms of painting, and the dances, the lion or the dragon dance, emphasizes the Chinese New Year. Chinese music dates back to the dawn of Chinese civilization. Documents and artifacts can give evidence of a well-developed music culture as early as the Zhou dynasty in 1122 to 256 BC, and the music is diverse, jolly, and sometimes the Chinese Communist Party that rules the nation is officially atheist, though is gradually becoming more tolerant of religions, according to the Council of Foreign Relations. Currently, there are 5 official religions: Buddhism, Taoism, Islam, Catholicism, and Protestantism. About a quarter of the people practice Taoism and Confucianism and other traditional religions. There are also small numbers of Buddhists, Muslims, and Christians. One famous artist is Fao Kahn. He began his career by modeling his work on that of Li Qing, but later created his own style, claiming that the only true teacher was nature. He became one of the most formidable artists of the 10th and 11th century and remains the most revered artist in Chinese history. His masterpiece, Traveling Among Mountains and Streams, is an icon of landscape painting, and future artists turn to him for inspiration. He is one of the 3 great rival artists of the golden period of Chinese art. Tang Yin is another one, but he created his personal style in painting by assimilating the techniques of the 4 great masters of the Yan. He is the most known for his painting that depict feminine beauty and is regarded as one of the 4 masters of Ming Dynasty. He remains one of the most famous painters in the history of Chinese art. There were a lot of different ways that the Chinese influenced Texas. On the 29th or 30th of December, 1869, General John G. Walker left St. Louis in charge of about 300 Chinese workers. They had contracts for 3 years, and they received $20 a month plus food. Calvert, Texas was where they were starting point for work on their railroad, which was built to Dallas. In 1917, Chinese refugees who had left Mexico established themselves as independent merchants in the United States. 427 Chinese men were ineligible to remain in the United States under immigration laws. because of a critical need for labor at Army installations at San Antonio, and with a recommendation of William Tracy Page, the War Department provided a temporary work program for the Chinese at Fort Sam Houston. Each refugee was given a certification of identity admitting him as a temporary resident. The most notable thing, though, in 1964, T.J. Lee was elected to the Texas House of Representatives from Bexar County. He was officially the first Texan with Chinese descent to serve in the Texas legislative. According to the 1980 census, the Chinese in Texas numbered 25,461, or less than 0.2% of the state's total population. Socially, the Chinese in Texas has always been a close-knit, inward-looking community, bound by their own awareness of the distinctiveness of their original Chinese culture as well as the long history of discrimination in the United States. They have looked to themselves and their own institutions for support and protection. Politically, the Chinese have similarly kept to themselves till the end of exclusion. They were classified as aliens, ineligible for citizenship, and thus except for the few who had been born in the United States, were denied the right to vote. Culturally, Chinese Texans had retained, a varying degrees, some of the distinct element of the old ways. Many preferred Chinese food to American, though the Chinese restaurants had opened in about 1970s, have been due more to the changing taste of the general population than to any Chinese demand. Most celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year, and under the influence of Confucianism, they tend to emphasize the family's solidarity and the value of education more than most other ethnic groups.